Trying to teach a whole new generation about not reading aloud from the mysterious creepy book? Ah, yeah, millennials made this one. The same ones who are obsessed with Evil Dead and The Mummy.
So, you seen good movies lately? Anybody? Anybody see any good movies?
You know, I genuinely started out feeling very cynical about this idea, being like, look, they're just doing Over the Moon again, but they're kind of adding elements from something like It Takes Two. This feels like one of their games made into a film, and it's got like this and that, and just drawing inspiration from all these different places, and then I suddenly realized at a certain point, no, if you draw inspiration from enough places, it just begins to feel and be original. In Your Dreams is the newest Netflix animated film. It stars Simu Liu, Kristen Milioti literally playing another character called Mother, Jolie Hoang Rappaport, and Elias Jansen as a family which appears to be on the verge of splitting up. So, after finding a magical book, this brother and sister think they can go into their dreams and find the Sandman, and he will make all of their dreams come true. In their dreams. It's Inception for children. But genuinely, it is quite fun. It's got both emotional gut punch moments and genuinely funny comedy. It's got a lot going on here, although we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Netflix. This is your second animated film in as many years about divorce. Are you okay? Like, this is definitely the new, like, millennial writers doing this instead of, like, just having kids not have two parents. No, they have two parents, but they're getting divorced. At a certain point, I got tired of these, because up until a couple of years ago, I was still riding the wave of, Mitchell's vs. the Machines and Klaus and a few individual really great and fun animated films that Netflix had done. And somewhere between Wish Dragon and The Twits, I lost that, and I started to instead think, oh god, here comes another one. And with this coming out, for the last few weeks, I have been looking at the poster, been looking at the trailer, just kind of going, ugh, because on the surface it does look like they're just copying Over the Moon and doing something like that again. It is literally a brother and sister learn to bond while going on an adventure through a mythical realm to find a mythological creature who they believe can solve all of their family issues. And then when they find them, the mythological creature sings, and has lots of, like, little tiny jumping around people around them being all like, meh, meh, meh. But it's not that similar to it, and the primary way they get away with that is what I call the Encanto idea. That was the first kind of Western animated film, I really feel like, where they suddenly went, oh, we don't just have to, like, do the I'm going on an adventure thing in every animated film. We can do something a little bit different, i.e. staying around home, having adventurous moments, but kind of working on stuff without just taking you out of your life for this complete adventure type of thing. And that was what Encanto did. That's very much what this does, because they kind of are adventuring in their dreams and then waking up and actually caring about their day, like they're still just living their lives. I feel like there's a part of me as a child born in the 90s that yearns for the, like, big battle finale and big adventure film and stuff like that. And yet, I feel like this is just... It's also a good way to go. I'm not going to say it's better. It's not. I like to think I'm someone who isn't cynical enough yet that I can still enjoy a kid's movie when it doesn't suck, and also like to think that I'm someone who can admit when they're wrong, and I could not have been in a more place for this going in. And at a certain point in it took maybe half an hour, a bit more of the film before I kind of went, And then there's two particular montages in this film, both trying to evoke very different emotions, both very good at it. And there is a great soundtrack for both of those, but also just throughout the film. There's a lot of great soundtrack moments and drops that I'm just like, hell yeah, actually. Both those montages, the first one came up that was just kind of a comedic montage of these two kids floating around in the dream world, like encountering all these nightmares and trying to like stay asleep so that they can get closer to the Sandman. And actually, I was cackling, I was enjoying myself, and I suddenly went, damn, this is not a bad film. It's not an incredible film or anything. It's not super original. The points it's trying to make have been seen before, and a lot of them have been done better elsewhere. But it's not a bad film. It was enjoyable. I could definitely watch this one again, and I did not think I would be saying that going in. So I was completely wrong with my expectations. Well done, Netflix. Don't say that often. It's heartfelt, it's sweet, it does have a good soundtrack. It didn't irritate me, the story, which feels weird. Although I will say that the animation is still not like that inspiring or anything. That just animated style, there's just something about it that vaguely annoys me. I like when you go like super balls to the wall with the animation style, like Mitchell's vs. the Machines, I think it works perfectly. When you pull back a bit and you're doing something kind of like this, kind of like the Willoughbys, kind of like Over the Moon, it it's just a look that doesn't really vibe for me. But it didn't actually bother me, despite not being my favorite style of animation this time around. Craig Robinson as the stuffed toy come to life, who just smells like baloney. Like, there are lots of little bits of kind of comedy written into this that I really enjoyed. I think the parents are quite funny a lot of the time, especially near the end. And the Sandman was a fascinating character. Weird. Just weird character. That whole realm was a whole, yeah, slightly underdeveloped, but fascinating, mysterious thing. And I could genuinely watch this again, happily enough, which I don't feel like I've said about many of the recent Netflix animated films. Yeah. K-pop Demon Hunters has saved this year, but it's not been a great year for them overall. Anyway, I'm giving They Actually Call a Character Junbei 3.5 stars. That was the most. It's still in the phase where I thought, oh, I'm gonna hate this film, and I was like, my god, they actually were like, oh, you kids like K-pop and the word "bay." Gotcha. And I was like, oh Christ. But that character as well was kind of funny, kind of worked. So can't even argue. I can't, although it was stupid.